The two-day Nagaland International Conference on Tourism, Transport and Logistic began today at Zone Near Tubai Park in Chumoukedima. The conference is being organized by the Business Association of Nagas with the aim to promote Nagaland tourism and foster cross-border collaborations to empower local entrepreneurs and MSMEs. During the conference, Nchumbemo Lotha, Tourism Secretary, who was one of the speakers, spoke on how community-centered tourism can be promoted. He said that the major problem in Nagaland tourism sector is the area permit for tourists. Speakers from India and abroad are attending the conference. Let's have a look at the report.
Salam Sopanamake. Nice to meet you. My name is Ryuta Saito. I'm from Japan Embassy. I'm in charge of Japan India Tourism Corporation. So thank you so much for giving me this great opportunity to interact with Naga people. And I would like to thank you to the organizers for this wonderful event. Thank you so much. Actually, this year is the 80th anniversary of World War II, and this year meaning has a lot of meaning between Japan and Nagaland. Because Naga people help Japanese government to collecting the remains of soldiers for so many years. So I would like to say, thank you very much, and we are very much appreciate for your support and great effort for us. Actually, Japan and Nagaland has special historical connections due to the bone collecting. But as a Japanese government, we would love to focus on more future-oriented cooperations with your state, because like Japan and Nagaland, we are sharing so many common things like culture, cuisines, and our habit. We have so many common things. And sorry, we have 5 minutes, right? So let me briefly explain the two things which our Japanese government doing project in Nagaland. The first one is through ODA, Japanese Official Development Assistance. We are doing so many development projects, like we are creating the cancer hospital, making the forest environment, or making some eco park. And also we are focusing on the people-to-people exchange program. As under the TITP, Technical Intern Training Program, we are receiving so many Nagaland youth to Japan for learning Japanese skill, also working giving some working experience in Japan. And of course, we are facing the lack of the workforce. So we are welcoming so many Indian youth from the entire India. But the Japanese company people told me, Mr. Saito, we love to welcome the Nagaland people, because Nagaland people is the most hard work, and they are really honest. So they become the kind of the leader in Japanese company and working, so we love to focus on this, TITP scheme. And we love to receive so many Nagaland youth to Japan as well. And actually, regarding the tourism, this year we are Japan and India celebrating Japan-India Tourism Promotion Exchange Year. And last year, almost 2.3 Indian visited to Japan, and 2.3 lakh Indian visited to Japan, and 1.4 lakh Japanese visited to India. And unfortunately, there are very limited people visit to Nagaland. Maybe only few hundred people visit to Nagaland. It's because we don't have enough knowledge and information about Nagaland. We know only Battle of Kohima's, World War II, such kind of image we have. But I really, as a Japanese government, we really love to focus on Nagaland, because you have such a beautiful cultures, natures, destinations, everything you have, and I'm pretty sure Japanese people can enjoy Nagaland, because as your people, you are really fluent in English, your hospitality is amazing, you have a really beautiful natures. So I'd love to show Japanese people in Nagaland much. And in this, I'm sorry.
One more minute.
Yeah, and actually, Madam, says a special interest tourism seat. I really agree this idea. And last time I get the help from Mr. Kejaroko, and we sent two Japanese famous influencers to Nagaland, and they created some tourism video about Nagaland, and they say they really love to Japan, Nagaland, and they love to try Nagaland cuisines, Nagaland nature. So maybe you can offer some special arrangement for Japanese travelers or Japanese traveler groups. And maybe this special interest tourism is a great idea. I feel like that. I'm so sorry. I love to interact with you later. So thank you so much for great opportunity and time. I'm sorry. Thank you so much.
Generally, guides don't use mic. We talk loud. Otherwise, you are not a guide. You are not fit to be a guide. That's what we normally say. And when we, it's about the role of the guide in Bhutan. In Bhutan, guides are compulsory, it's a must. In fact, we have been fighting for that only because we have almost now around 4,000 guides who are, most of them have now become a freelance guide from being a permanent tour guides. So because of that, we need to actually engage them, in a better way so that, the employability rate is high and also they make enough to meet both ends meet, So those things are being done. So when I was asked to actually, I need actually hear on the TV, is it there? In the back. But I never do but Mauludi. Slides here so that I can just see and talk just on few points only. Otherwise, very difficult to see from here. Okay. Yeah, take it. Okay. Again. Next. Yeah. So here I was asked to talk about the indispensable role of tour guides in Bhutan, how important tour guides are in Bhutan. The tourist actually sees through the eyes of a guide. And also, if you look at the survey done by the Department of Tourism, 70% of the tourists have said that when they were asked about how they came to know about Bhutan, they said it's word of mouth. So when you talk about word of mouth, it is the guide. That the guides have played such a big role in promoting Bhutan through a guest that visited Bhutan. And then they went happy back. And they also, the people who have visited Bhutan will have definitely, out of 10, if you choose, at least 5 to 6 of them will be able to afford the tour to Bhutan. So because of that also, we do have actually guests who are mostly high-end. Very rarely we would have students from college and institute or maybe young, but majority of the tourists that visit Bhutan is 56 years and above. So that also actually, and then for that, if you don't have a seasoned guide, it's a problem. So because of that also, we actually make a lot of emphasis on giving proper training. One, I'm going a little bit off track, but I think I should because the question was already made on this. So if somebody wants to become a guide in Bhutan, the foremost important thing is that he needs a police clearance called NOC, No Objection Certificate, medical certificate, because he or she also needs to be fit. And then he or she should have minimum qualification of secondary high school. Now we are trying to actually take it up to degree. And then, then we have interview, and even in the interview, they can, they may not get through. And then the course is for 4 months. Very, very rigorous, intensive. If you really look at that course, it may take even a year if you have to teach them, professionally. So certain things, we really, we don't do it because it's somehow the other feels that they can learn on their own also. So anything that they can learn on their own, we just touch it. Otherwise, things that is required for a guide to work professionally, those we actually train them rigorously. One is definitely first aid. They need to do that. Then even code of conduct. Then even our cultural etiquette. That the Buddhists will have as a guide. You are always national days 24/7. Actually, even in the middle of the night, if you're there with the guests. Generally, the one thing we allow maybe is that if they're in the wild, in track, you don't have to wear. Other than that, if you're doing a cultural tour, then you need to wear all the time. So because of that. Then the other thing is that we also have upskilling training, and then we have a regular refresher course. Next. I think I'll leave this, you can see a garden of happiness and sustainable future. Bhutan actually promotes, if you look at the area, oh my gosh, gone? Okay, I'll go to the next. I think I can leave this, yeah, okay, yeah. And then, we protect our environment to a point where it is there even in the Constitution, which says that 60% of the forest coverage will remain for eternity. At the moment, we have around 72% plus. And then, if you talk about GNH, gross national happiness, we actually, the king of Bhutan, the father of the present king, said that he would want his people to be more happier than richer. Because, now happiness, if you really look at, it is, it can come only through contentment. You have to be content, satisfied with what you have. So, and then for that, you have to practice. Practice makes the man perfect. So, and then guides needs to be really good. So that was a philosophy that was adopted, not adopted since 2000, but we had this goal for last almost now, I think 76 was the first time when the king delivered speech. Almost 49 years ago when he was interviewed, he said that this is what he wants his country to be. Okay, next. I think okay. Ambassador, this I don't have to talk much about how important guides are to represent your country in, especially culturally. That's one is dress, etiquette, the manner you accept, the way you handle your guests. And then, and then we do actually, especially in Bhutan, if you look at a lot of the products are living, we are not making it for tourists. Is there. So the guide knows which places to take. A lot of the times, if you look at the itinerary, you won't know it, what to expect. So the guides, in turn, who are really, because of the training, that they know where to take it, how to, give them an authentic. We normally use authentic, but I use this word living because it is there. It's a part and parcel of a Bhutanese life, and we are not making it for tourists. It's there. Anytime you go there, it's there. They will do the same thing to anybody. So next. Yeah, so I don't have to talk about this. We have already talked. Definitely, sustainability is again on the top of the agenda for the guides. That even on the track, we don't actually cut the trees and like that. We actually, as far as possible, we don't make bonfires and those. In fact, it is restricted by the Department of Tourism. It's not allowed. But some local areas where we have locals or nomads, so sometimes they do that, and if it's really cold, and also that the locals would come to entertain guests. So that time they may. Other than that, on the tour, even the one of the most toughest track in the world called Snowman Track, there it goes on for 29 days. Even there, even on that track, we don't use any of the fire, despite the fact most of the time you will be actually walking at 4,000 meter plus. Okay, next. What's there now? Okay. So authentic encounter, I've already said that, that almost everything that we had in Bhutan is authentic, including homestay. Homestays, we have a little bit, I visited, Sri Lanka, and then Thailand, then Maldives. A lot of the products that they have there are not genuine. It is just for the tourists. Whereas in Bhutan, if you visit and if we promote that, it is authentic, it is living, it is part and parcel of a Buddhist life. We don't. In fact, even the foods that we provide to tourists, we provide almost same kind of food that the locals would eat, and maybe add one item, so that if they are not, because I also tell a lot of the times to guides and others, even to the villagers, that they are not going to die, if they don't eat lunch or dinner. Generally dinner, and then breakfast. Breakfast we make it like so. What the tourists want is authentic experience, real one. And then even the people, maybe even in Nagaland, if you do a survey, maybe 30 to 40% of the tourists who visits Nagaland would want to meet people. When we talk about this to some of our friends in the government, they laugh. Why? What is there in the Buddhist people? I say, you're talking from, as a Buddhist. You look at from the tourists that are visiting Bhutan. They have never seen us. So definitely they want to know our culture, our experience, what kind of livelihood we have, how we were actually, long time back, and how we, so those things because of that. Okay, next. Okay, this is it. So, I think I'll not touch this. Let's go now. I think I don't have time. Next. Yeah. A preserver of identity, safeguarding Bhutan's cultural tapestry. And then one of the most important, tourism product is we as a Bhutanese. Who we are, what kind of people we are. If you look at actually hospitality, it is there in the Bhutanese blood. Actually, we actually give the best room. If you have a guest, the best meal. Sometimes you would have just a strip of pork hanging there, which has been there sometimes for 3-4 months, or dried beef. They don't eat it. They keep it, thinking that one fine day somebody may knock at the door so that you treat them royally. But now this has changed because of modernization like that. You can get it. Still, they will provide the best possible meal to tourists actually, and then definitely authentic experience. Like if you go to central Bhutan, we have a buckwheat and bucket noodles and pancake. Those are considered delicacies, and also that is rich in nutrients and others. So, one of the meals that generally. Thank you.
I'd like to first introduce my company. I represent APJ Surendra Park Hotels Limited, one of India's oldest hospitality companies, having set up their first hotel, that's the Park Hotel in Calcutta in 1967. We also operate a very iconic confectionery brand called Flurries. Why I'm talking about Flurries is when I meet people across the country, not just in Nagaland, one thing people talk about is the Park Hotel, and especially Flurries, going and having breakfast, eating chocolates, eating the brownies at Flurries. That's what we do. Now, we are owners and operators of hotels. So we would like to thank the ownership of this hotel to give us an opportunity to manage the hotel. So coming to the point, why and how do we promote tourism in this region? Nagaland, as per my understanding and my relationship to the state, goes more than 50 years, even before I was born. I'll come to that part, how. So Nagaland is a place which is, like ma'am said, has got plenty to offer people. It's got nature, it's got very warm people, it has got the culinary experiences which you can create. There are trails which are available. And the people here are very smart. I've just come from Kolkata, where we have a lot of young staff from team members from Nagaland, from Kohima, from Dimapur, working there. So every time I go to any destination, I'll ask the team, where are you from? So a lot of time I get an answer, Nagaland. So I say, where in Nagaland? So they'll say Dimapur. Where in Dimapur? They'll give me a specific. When I'm asking this, people are looking at my face. Why is this guy asking so much? Then I tell them, we run a hotel there. I've been going there. People are surprised. So that's an opportunity for people to come back. Why work outside? So if we create infrastructure there, people are happy to come and work here back in Nagaland. That's one. I've been coming to the state personally since 2019 when we started working on this project with the owners. And every time I have come, I have seen development happening in the state, be it at the airport, whatever work has happened, be it on the highways, be it the access to Kohima. So there is a lot of work happening. So rather than saying government bashing, I would say there is a lot of good work which has happened. And now, if we look at the central budget which has been presented to promote tourism, is a positive step in that segment. How we can help people grow tourism is we are happy to partner with people who want to set up hotels, who want to set up resorts. We can come, help, operate and manage them. We can help in skill development of the guides we were talking about for Hornbill or be it other people. We as a company also run a hotel management institute, so we can partner. We have a hotel here, we have resources where we can partner and upskill people. When we upskill people, we also see when the growth of tourism happens, you might have a reverse brain drain, as people would say, people from outside wanting to come back, Nagas who are working outside wanting to come back home and work. So that is what we can do. Another thing which comes by is everyone talks about infrastructure. Now, invariably, infrastructure and development goes hand in hand. What is, I think, missing today is marketing the state of Nagaland. A lot of time people ask, oh, first question, do I need a passport? How will I work on the inner line permit? So these are things, and that is one area I think where a push from the government is required. Taking an example, if I have last week I was at one of South Asia's largest travel mart called the OTM in Mumbai. Most of the states had very, very large stalls. More than anything else, it's visibility, it is education. Someone spoke about Assam. Assam had a stall. Punjab had a stall. Rajasthan had a stall. Goa had a stall. And large presence. That is something which educates and showcases people about what the state has to offer. It's a brilliant place, very warm and hospitable people. Lots to offer in terms of handicraft, lots to offer in terms of home style remedies. I remember there is one thing, every time I come here, I am given, told by people I know to carry back, there is a package, health package which is which has got turmeric, which has got a couple of other herbs which make in Nagaland, packages and sells. Those things are something which could be carried across there. So we are there as far as a company, long term to support the growth of Nagaland. As we said, we are happy to partner with people. We are happy to work with the government to provide soft skills, to train people who are there as part of the Hornbill Festival or anywhere else they find us relevant. So happy to be here and happy to partner in the growth of Nagaland. Thank you. And just the last point which I said, my association with the state goes to more than 50 years. My father used to work here. He was here in the 72, 73, part of the border roads, had built a few bridges, roads close to Makokchung. Last year, I got him when we signed the hotel in 2019, he used to tell me, I want to go there, I want to go to those places and see where it was. I got him here in April. Thanks to him, I saw the part of Nagaland which I didn't see. And I would want other people also to come back and experience the wonders of Nagaland. Thank you.
I am here to point out issues about responsible tourism. And the best way to do it is to showcase what is irresponsible tourism. Fortunately, after this, I have a presentation where I'll showcase some pictures. But in the meantime, let me quickly delve into a few areas of irresponsibility. And my time starts now. The first thing, the biggest problem, so it's not just about pinpointing problems, it's also about finding solutions. And whereas I'm going to list out the pitfalls, I will also say that, not that in this session I would have the time to go into them, but I will at a later stage. One of the biggest problems in our country is the unorganized sector, which needs to be harnessed, which needs to be certified, which needs to be brought under control. And that involves inspection, it involves, a protocol of punishment and reward and things like that, workshops, training, skill building, and so on. The second biggest problem in our country is the irresponsible traveler. Ladies and gentlemen, believe you me, more dangerous than the service provider is the traveler in our country. And with the boom in domestic tourism, this is becoming a big, big menace. So much so that global tourists are being discouraged from coming to our destinations. They will just open the window and throw any garbage anywhere. They will do what they like anywhere. And, things like that. I don't need to go into that in much detail. But the way to change that is to, number one, start with school education, which will go later into a greater thing. And we need to sort of have a code of conduct for travelers, which needs to be enforced. The third biggest problem is the plastic menace. I do not shy away from saying that the hotel industry and the tourism industry is a large producer of the carbon footprint and a large producer of affluents and garbage. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, we can bring about changes by changing our service designs in the hotel industry and by enforcing certain rules as far as plastics are concerned. The next thing is over-tourism. Too many tourists. We need to have carrying capacity studies, and we need to look at building alternate destinations. I did talk about capacity building, conducting workshops and so on, but there is something known as the Sustainable Tourism Criteria of India, which was adopted by the Ministry of Tourism in the year 2010. What we need to do is to implement that in the state. Next, one of the major problems of domestic tourism or tourism is road safety. We need to have safe roads, and the biggest menace on our highways, and I really don't know whether it's true in Nagaland, but in many parts of the country, can you imagine we have liquor vans on the roads where drivers can stop and have a drink and proceed? I think that's the most dangerous thing to do. It doesn't happen anywhere, and I have made a proposal to the government to completely ban liquor vans on the road, on the highways. So as I said, the imposition of best practices, to be enforced, having strict laws and a code of conduct, which is supplemented by monitoring and by fines, having list of do's and don'ts at monuments and places of tourist interest, where the customer knows that if he does this, he's got to pay something. And we can have a system of wardens who are empowered to do this. We can enforce best practices, like, I'll give you an example. In trekking areas in Ladakh, which I experienced, people go on treks, and after the trekking season is over, the trekking companies are asked to go and clean the trails. Now, that is something that has become mandatory for them. Taxi drivers have to carry small garbage bags, small bags in their taxis, so that if somebody is eating a packet of chips, he doesn't throw it on the road. People are discouraged from bringing plastic bottles into monuments. For example, if I'm carrying a plastic bottle, water bottle, the gate will ask me to deposit, let's say 50 rupees. I can take the bottle in, and I'll only get it back if I show that I'm taking the bottle back out. So these are some practices which can be imposed and which can prevent the menace of... we talk a lot about film tourism and weddings. Ladies and gentlemen, please understand that weddings produce huge amounts of garbage, huge amounts of plastics and waste. So unless and until there is a code of conduct, there is some kind of monitoring, there is some kind of system that is brought. So these are the pitfalls, there are solutions which we can discuss later. And when I have the fortunate privilege of having a presentation after this, but I'll show you some pictures. But one of the ways that I have proposed to every state government is to have an empowered eco-tourism board. Now, whereas the Ministry of Tourism in every state, is busy in formulating policy, in making guidelines, they do not have the resources and the wherewithal to implement. Now, if you want to implement all these ideas, my suggestion is have an ecotourism board, which has got a set of guidelines, which goes into these codes of conducts, and which is responsible and accountable for implementing all these policies. Thank you very much.
It's interesting because we are almost 1 hour into the program and we're talking tourism and nobody's talked about Hornbill Festival. But I want to start with Hornbill Festival. because that's a good model that has come out. Some may dislike Hornbill Festival, some may love Hornbill Festival. I love Hornbill Festival. I don't drink, but I enjoy the 10 days of Hornbill Festival. So that's up to you to interpret whichever way you want to. But when you look at the economy, because I want to touch a little bit about, many a times, you all know I have been this side of the fence throughout my life, and only the past 2 years I've come this side of the fence, of the government side. So I'm really also trying to understand, because when I was on the other side, like many of us talk, it's always the government that is at fault. We like to blame the government for each and everything that happens, that is going wrong in the state. It's the government's fault. And I've also been very vocal about that in the past, but now coming this side, then I see it's a different world altogether. And I want that these 2 days of discussion would be not just be a government bashing discussion, but we also need to understand the challenges and reality. So I'll be dropping some few numbers for all of you, which considering this is not just a group of people just to fill up the room coming in, but these are serious people who are going to be working for the future. When we look at the tourism industry, I want to go back to the Hornbill Festival. Some study had been conducted last year by Science College, Jotsoma, and in 2000, which our secretary would also help me with numbers if I'm wrong, but about in 2023, the Hornbill Festival, about 6.5 CR was spent. The government had invested about 6.5 CR, and the study shows that about 109 CR was generated. Revenue was generated, about 109 crores were generated for 6.5 crore investment. Now, last year was the 25th edition, and there was a lot of hue and cry about why is the government spending 100 CR. Now everything, when we're talking of government, like President mentioned, it's about infrastructure. So that being, everybody knows Nagaland because of not everybody, but the global, if people know about Nagaland, it's because of the Hornbill Festival. So let us look at the good side of Hornbill Festival and try to build that up for the other tourism areas as well. Ma'am, you have to give me 2 more minutes because I've not even got into the... and so when you look at that, industry department, we made a handloom and handicraft pavilion for 15 CR. In 4 months, we made infrastructure because this is the role of the government. Government cannot do business, but we have to, like President said, we have to make infrastructure for the people. So for this 15 crore investment, we made, there was a business that was done for about 3 crore and 13 lakhs plus some changes in 10 days. And that revenue is not the government's revenue, but that is what we are creating for the people. The entrepreneurs who are selling it, the artisans who have made it, and this is what I think the government is trying to do. I do agree that for tourism to expand, for us to explore tourism, it's important. Government plays a very, very crucial role. Infrastructure has to be in place. Now I want to take you to our budget, which is very important, not just for tourism, but for economy in general. When we look at our budget 2024, last year's budget, we see that 23,127 was the state's budget. That is the total expenditure. When we break it down, we see that revenue expenditure, which is the expenditure spent on salaries, pension, etc., 16,893 crore. 16,893 crore. And for debt servicing, the loans that the government take, for those debt servicing, it was 4,243 crore. For power purchase, it's about 600 crore. And now power is another important sector because industry cannot move even an inch if your power sector is not in place. But our AT&T loss is about almost 60%. So again, it comes back to us, the public, Are we also doing our duties and responsibilities the way we should be doing? So at the end, we are left with only about 10% to do development work. We have only about 2,591 CR to do the development work, to put up the infrastructure, to put up the road, electricity, whatever. And this is the struggle the government is going through. It is important, if you look at the revenue of, ma'am, I'm really sorry, please, you have to, I'm not going to speak in the panel also. I mean, the later questions I'm not going to answer, but this one is important. These numbers are important. When we look at the revenue of the different states, I want to just mention 2 states. I want to compare ourselves with Assam, because of course we are really different, but state's revenue, Assam's state revenue, which they generate, that is non-taxable revenue, is 34,149 crore. In comparison, Nagaland's revenue is 1,787. And our own, the taxed ones are, Assam has 8,871 crore, whereas Nagaland, ours is only 464 crore. So when we really look, it's like the thing of chicken and egg, which comes first, the chicken or the egg. So likewise, is the government to be blamed, or are the people to be blamed, So these are the struggle that we are also, as a newbie to the government, we are also struggling on our own. The government cannot do much on our own. I'm sure under the leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, the 60 of us, because it's an oppositionless government, we are all trying our best to make sure that we are doing the right thing for the people. But it's a collaborative effort. Both, we have to stop this blame game. We are blaming the government, and the government is blaming the people. But as long as we come together through platforms and through initiatives like BAN, I'm sure I can see a positive, there's a positive headway, and I'm really, really happy to be part of this conversation. And I want to be part of not just this conversation, but also to take whatever the outcome and see in whatever way, in my own capacity as advisor of industries and commerce, and also on behalf of the government, we are always there to support and to work together as partners. Thank you.
As we all know, that Nagaland is very rich in history, ethnic, tribal culture, reflected through folk dances, music festivals, handicraft, and the custom and the ways of its hill tribe has been a source of great curiosity not to the Indians, but people all over the world. Nagaland is a land of charm, diverse in landscape, culture, and offers opportunities for whole range of tourism activities, which to date has remained largely untapped. Though marketing and promotional measures can partly prevail over this image, but ultimately it is the visitor's experience that matters the most. Publicity, promotion, and marketing facilities. We would like to promote Nagaland as sustainable community-centered tourism that celebrates the state culture and preserve its natural beauty. The Tourism Department would like to foster collaboration among various stakeholders, including government agencies, tourism industry associations, local communities, NGOs, and private sector enterprise, to create a unified approach towards tourism development and management in Nagaland. The department has brought out the new tourism policy in 2024. So one of the in that policy is that all infrastructural developmental works related to tourism projects of any kind should be taken up in a well-planned and thought-out manner, taking into consideration the viability and sustainability of the structure in a particular environment. The department support the community enterprises, homestays, and community-led tour operations Hotels are important vital segment of the tourism infrastructure. The department provides training program and capacity building initiative to enhance the skills and knowledge of tourism industry professionals, local communities, and service providers. Tourism is a multi-sector activity. It involves the local communities, the government, the policymakers, who come in touch with tourists in various ways. Visitor first impression of a place is very much based on at the facilities available in its airport, railway, and bus station. Here, if we want to promote tourism, the connectivity should be there. But now the state government is focusing more on road sector, so many tourist hotspots are well connected with the roads, so the state and or the department can establish the infrastructure wherever there is possible tourist influx in that area. Now, I would like to highlight that one of the problems for tourists coming to the state is the restricted area permit. That is especially for the foreign tourists. Nagaland is one of the peaceful country and for the safety of women. If the government of India relax that restricted area permit, many investors will come and many tourists will also come, which will help boost our local economy also. Thank you.
Some 25 years ago, Madam Tangi came to our village and he sowed some seeds. And today the fruits are bearing. And when she came to our village, and she was sharing the gospel of tourism, and our village became the first green village of India. And when we became the first green village of India, it gave birth to a new breed of entrepreneurs. So we have today tour operators, tour guides, homestay owners, and many other people, depending on tourism for their livelihood. So I want to say thank you, ma'am. And also, as a tourism stakeholder, I want to thank Ben for organizing this program. And because we believe that tourism is something which our people can really do well. So on behalf of all the tourism stakeholders, I want to say a very big thank you to Ben. I myself am a member of Ben, not able to contribute in any way, though very happy to be here. So I want to highlight some key issues that we as tourism stakeholders working in the ground, experiences, faces, sometimes challenging opportunities, there are many things that I want to share, but with the time limit, I will be going straight to the points. So basically, if you look at the scenario of tourism in Northeast India, Arunachal, Meghalaya, and Assam, these three states are, taking away the most number of tourists. If you look at the statistics in Kaziranga alone, last year from October to December, I came across a figure. It's about 164,000, and there are a lot of hotels, resorts. So many properties are there. They have about 600 to 700 gypsies for jungle safaris. Elephants are there. So a lot of people, families, thousands of families are depending on tourism. They don't do throughout the year because of the flood, but from from October to April during the dry season, a lot of things are happening. So if you look at the scenario, Kaziranga, Meghalaya, and Arunachal, west side of Arunachal, most of the tourists are going there. And Kaziranga is just 3 hours drive from Dimapur, 5 hours drive from Kohima. So I think there's a missing link. I think we have to connect these dots, is what I feel. And we as stakeholders, we get the opportunity to travel to the nook and corners of Nagaland, and many a times we feel very sad, how tourism has happened over the past years. And I respectfully agree with what our president has said this morning. things are not in place, so it will take some time. But we believe that government is also trying their best. And 2-3 things which I would like to highlight in this space is recently the government of Nagaland, under the initiative of the Investment Development Authority of Nagaland, has given out 80 cars, 80 vehicles. So many of us, I'm sure, are beneficiaries of this scheme. They call it the Nagaland Tourism Connect scheme. So many of us are beneficiaries of this scheme, and I'm very happy that the government has given such a big boost to the transport sector. So this is a very good thing, and I think we all appreciate this, and we still want more. Is what we want to tell to our government, and also the homestays. Homestay is one area where I think it will really help the local entrepreneurs in the rural areas. Nagaland, as we know, is not a 5-star destination. We are yet to become a 5-star destination. We have probably very soon we may be getting 5-star properties. But in the nook and corners, in the far-flung areas, the homestays will be the best mode of accommodation. Because we know in tourism and hospitality, there are 3 key elements: amenities, accessibility, and attractions. Without these 3, there cannot be a destination. So when we go to the nook and corners, we come across tourism buildings, infrastructures built in the wrong places, wayside amenities, where tourists will never go. So I think over the past years, we have dumped a lot of money. So this is something which we really, really feel sad as stakeholders. I would like to mention one village in the far eastern side of Nagaland. There's a village called Peshu. And if you go there, there are still a lot of houses built with slate roofs, stone roofs. So this kind of unique places where we can drive, we can take a lot of people to go and experience. So there are a lot of opportunities, potentials are there, but I think we will have to wait for the good time. And we have so many things that we can do, but we can't do everything. But if we have to look for a model, just last 10 seconds. I think we have our Bhutanese friends here. Bhutan is not very far from us. We have a lot to learn from Bhutan. So Bhutan is the very good destination where we can learn a lot. I think we should all visit Bhutan once. Thank you once again, ma'am. Thank you.